Oh, my.
It's getting ugly, Murph.
You know.
It's getting ugly. It's getting ugly.
Tom, I don't like seeing you like this.
Yeah, I don't like seeing me like this either.
Oh, my.
I'll tell you what, it was a bad week for Midland City, and it was also a bad week for Big Sloppy's premonition, I would say.
Bad week for my dreams, I think. But, here's the deal. It's not about hexes at this point. But there's something I don't like about this. You're very flippant about these. You got something planned. I mean, because I can't take anything at face value at this point.
I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Thank you.
Because I just made a couple notes of things I wanted to talk to.
Okay.
And the very first thing on my list, I wrote down hex intervention.
It's time?
Have you seen that Key and Peele sketch? I forgot what it's like, text message confusion or something.
Oh, yes.
Where they're texting and he keeps reading the text as sarcastic and hostile.
Reading into the tone, yeah.
And every single one of them keeps building on itself to where he thinks they're going to meet for like a fist fight.
So that's me. I picture you now at home, basically. Every text I get from you, I picture you in like a circle of like old fantasy stickers, like lit on fire, like you're naked, you have some sort of body paint going on. Like, yeah, I picture you going full hex.
So I sensed this based on the energy, the vibe of your responses. I sensed that you felt that way. It's not true, Murph. I sent you 0 hexes this week, and my feeling is you felt like I sent you 14.
What about unintended hexes, though? Are we pretending like
unintended hexes? Saying what the weather is outside could be an unintended hex.
So, like, okay, you're familiar with the Exorcist film?
A great film.
Oh, I mean, just tremendous film on every level.
Completely holds up. We had a couple years ago. We had a Halloween double feature.
Yes,
we watched Poltergeist and The Exorcist, and Poltergeist was almost stunningly hokey. Yes, it doesn't hold up at all. It was kind of embarrassing. And The Exorcist, it's like that movie could come out tomorrow and it would be just as good. It is so good.
That's a great point. Those two back to back, that is a great point. Yeah, a little hokey and it was like the PG-13 spook fest of the 80s, It was. Whereas Exorcist was literally, that film is just, it is really unsettling. It's really well done.
It is.
But anyhow, you were like a young Reagan up in the attic, just innocently rooting around.
Reagan.
You find a little Ouija board, and next thing you know, you're asking it, oh, will Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson miss the next 4 weeks? You're just, you're an innocent little kid up there rooting around. Maybe, and now here we are, and I'm paying the price.
Murph, what did I even do? Here, my experience is that you've been going hard in the paint sending me hexes. I would say most of my hexes are defensive hexes, where I'm trying to defend something you just unlaid on me. So
preemptive hexes, is that what we're talking about here, Tom?
I waited until you had already scored the points. Is it a hex to just acknowledge what happened?
No, but here's the thing.
Is it a hex to text you after I have no players left, you're beating me by 20, and you have Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon to go? Right. Is it a hex to just say you've won this week? It's a fact.
No, listen, there are faxes and there are hexes. Here's the deal. Listen, the trauma, we've unpacked our trauma already. I view this more as like something, also practically, let's just get out of the spiritual realm. If you want to talk facts are I have 0 waiver moves.
Yes.
And this has been a bloodbath of a year. So I have this other vision that I didn't want to even say because it wasn't tangible. I didn't see it on a scoreboard in the dream, but I felt it. I'm going to have weeks at the end of the year here where I don't have people to start. That's just a weird feeling that we've never had to deal with in two-man, I will say.
Okay.
Like, there's never been a year where I wasn't able to field the full lineup.
And you have, Lamar still hasn't had his bye, so it's possible if like Hurts was injured the week he has his bye, then you wouldn't have a quarterback that week. That's possible.
And listen, are these just neurotic, wild fantasies? Maybe I'm imagining you up in the attic.
Well, but what have I done?
It's not on you. It's not you. You're a gentleman.
What have I said? Because I get the sense, I get the sense you think I have some like wry smile where every text has a little wink, and I'm almost actively consciously trying to not hex. I didn't even text you. You were killing me.
No, I know.
And then at the end of it, I'll make some comment of like, you beat me by 50 points or whatever. And then you act like Joe Mixon's going to have 65 fumbles tonight and you're going to lose.
You're handling this with a lot more class than I would. This year, your team just isn't really putting up points right now is the problem.
No,
that's the main, which sounds like really simplifying it, but I think that is your problem.
I would say that is a big part of the problem is my team is not putting up points. The other side of the problem is that your team's putting up a fuck ton of points. And the combination of those two things is not very good for me winning fantasy football weeks. I put up the season low last week between both of us. It was the season low. Either of us had scored 125. This week, I've scored 127. And you are, according to the Yahoo Unserious projections, going to end with 187. Wherever you end up with, you're already beating me by 42 points.
Right.
And if it's 187, you'll be beating me by over 60. But you're currently beating me 169 to 127.
Okay.
And you already have a 102-point lead in the total points. You're going to be beating me by more than 150 points.
And I've already got the dub. Yeah. There's no unless that like very casual 65 fumble hex does play out. In which case, if it does, then we're calling on the Warlocks. Then I'm calling up every Warlock I know, and we're trying to respond to that. The wins though are now kind of where we're at then, because I feel like it will be tough. As someone who's often coming from behind, it will be tough. And let me just also say again, as I accuse you of being a Warlock, I also will say you are very classy. You're handling, especially the first time we're getting together every week, like my frustrations with the team, because I liked your team. Your receiving core has really it's un Midland. It's very un Midland this season. Your hands are usually slapping me all over the field.
You got the top two. You got the top two receivers. You have the top two receivers. You have the top running back. You have the top quarterback. It's starting to look a little ugly, Murf.
It is. And yet you're still sitting on your two Richard Simmons waivers now.
I am sitting on my Richard Simmons waivers, and
I think you're right too, because sadly, like this again, I empathize with you because it's a weird year in a lot of ways, including looking at this waiver pool. There isn't anyone you could really be like, oh, smash the glass.
Richard can't help me, Murf.
No, Richard can't help.
There is no one that can save me. I must save myself. My only way out of this is for the players I already have to start doing better. That's all I have. There's no one. I did a Dark Night of the Soul search on the I'm sure you've many a time had a Dark Night of the Soul looking on the waiver wire and realizing there's nothing you can do. No. And that's where I'm at. I went through every position.
You start shifting the stats around, like, wait, what if I look at it like with this? You try to like reorder the you know what I mean? You're like, all right, so let me just see most touchdowns. Let me see who had. Yeah, you start getting into a real desperate.
The only thing I can do, which I've already mentioned that I'm almost surely going to do, I'm going to pick up a defense.
Yes.
So I can stop fist pumping every time my defense doesn't have negative points. The Jets had 3 points this week, and I was just fist pumping to the bank that they didn't give me -6.
Yeah, you're just like, so they're not taking away from the table.
So that's something I can definitely do that I absolutely have to do.
I think another thing that feels like a little bit of a I don't even want to say, I was going to say a little bit of a Hail Mary, but that's just rude.
Don't bring up Hail Marys to me for at least 2 years. I don't want to hear the word hail. I don't want to hear the two-word combination Hail Mary.
Apologies. So I'll say a sort of let me go through my thesaurus here. A sort of a half-court heave.
Yeah.
All right. So the for McCaffrey, because he carried the ball, he's back in the driver's seat with 19 carries this week. I don't think they're going to shut it down anytime soon.
I already did not want McCaffrey.
You don't want him. I'm only saying, like, if there's another week, and just so I just don't sound like an extreme asshole to people tuning in. Tom has beat me so thoroughly in this league so many times. Let me have a week. Like, Tom, would you say it's... I'm not asking you to completely co-sign and to give me a pass, but would you not say... And you're usually... I wouldn't even say usually. You're a class act. So I don't mean to ever come across like a dick. It's just that I feel like I don't get these opportunities often.
No, I haven't felt dickness from you. And yes, historically in the two-man dance thus far, I've had the winning hand.
You have. So I would just say it's fun. To me, the McCaffrey thing feels like if next week we should have another repeat. Let's say you lose again.
Yeah.
But the points are starting to look like, because you need to start, I would say we're getting into, what are we, week 11 now. So it's starting to get to the point where I'm saying McCaffrey feels almost less like he would make my team that much better, and more like, how do we bring the McCaffrey problem full circle? It almost feels like that would be a half-court heave, if you will, for Midland.
Energetically, now that my team is just floundering, it almost feels like the circumstances are better to pick him up. Because if he, what does it mean for him to hex my team? Like it doesn't mean much. I'm already putting up putrid numbers, and you're I wouldn't say it's dire, but it's beginning to get dire.
It could be dire in 2 weeks.
If you beat me again this week, it's dire.
Yeah,
because now you're up 6-5. So you're in a point now. I agree. It's not likely for me to catch the points. Even if you can't field a lineup, it's still not likely for me to catch you.
Easy now, easy.
I'm serious.
I know, but I'm just saying.
So assuming you hold on to the point lead, you just need to go 3-3 now and you clinch. I need to win 4 out of the next 6.
That's where we're at. Okay.
And I need to win 5 out of the next 6 for your dream to come true.
We're at the point where nine wins would 9 wins is all you need. So I do think you're right that the points, to me, the McCaffrey move for you, it's not like you have people on your bench that are going to, like you're not making the wrong moves. Like, it's a frustrating. I'm saying I'm empathizing with your situation, and I'm being serious here because it's frustrating.
You just got this glint in your eye.
Well, only because I know how it sounds.
This.
I know how it sounds.
Little pep talk.
Also because I just know how aggravating it is to have someone who's beating you be like, let me tell you something. You're like, shut the fuck up. Let me just leave me be. Tom, remember, I'm also not fully rooting for what's happening to continue to happen either. I want careful what you wish for, but I do want it.
No, but it would be nice to win though, right? Just
let me say,
you wouldn't get the replacements,
but
it would be nice to get that ring back, right?
It would, but at the expense of, let's put it this way. If I had never won one, I said this before, if I had never won one, I would not feel this way at all. But I am actually comfortable saying between the two, I would rather face you, not saying it's not a guaranteed loss, obviously. We're going to the replacement. It's a crapshoot. Yeah. It's truly a coin flip. So I would rather have that level of let's watch some Week 18 football that matters with a completely, revamped line. I'd rather do that and then take it from there than just say, I'm going to steamroll the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather that. I'd rather face you in Week 18. But
I need to, I don't know what I need to do. I need to go in that locker room and make a Al Pacino and Given Sunday type speech.
I think you do. I think, Nick Nolte, Blue Chips. I think you need to walk in there and throw some shit around, especially coming from you.
Just pump them up.
Yes. They need a little bit of fire and brimstone, I think.
They need to hear about the inches.
They need to hear about inches. Yes, they definitely do. I mean, you just frothing at the mouth, screaming at these guys. I think that's enough to get people motivated. You know what, though? That's why I'm saying it has to be McCaffrey. I'm honest, and I believe, as I'm saying it, I'm like, stop trying to push this. But I will say that, to me, for that exact reason, who else could it be? He's got the X factor. He's been too involved in this two-man dance to just quietly slip away.
I just can't feel. What's your? Are you trying to hex me further?
No. I'm honestly, I'm trying to just throw a little spice in the stew. That's all.
You want me to pick up McCaffrey?
Listen, we've salted this stew to death. Let's throw a little spice in there.
Why do you want this?
Listen, if I could pick up McCaffrey, I would. Let's just say that. Now I would. I've come full circle. If I could pick him up right now, I would.
Why?
Spice. The spice of life. A little bit of spice. Why not?
I mean, he won me the championship last year.
I mean, you had him galloping all over me for for years.
You dropping him was your turning point. Maybe me picking him up is mine.
Listen, if nothing else, it's spicy.
It is spicy.
What else do we have at this point other than a little
I
spice?
need to stew on this.
Stew. Let that stew sit. Taste it. See if it needs a little more spice.
Here's the thing. If I was beating you right now, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
No. If I was winning by 50 less overall points than I am right now, I wouldn't be pushing for this.
Wow.
Think of it that way.
This season has revolved around him, so.
I mean, we had how many episodes were bore his name?
It was all about him. Everything about the draft, leading up to the draft and after the draft, was about him.
As it should have been.
And then he exited. Oh, this is compelling now. This is very compelling.
Listen, there's something for the storyline. I feel like here's how this episode ends with, it goes to black, and we just hear in the Midland City locker room door swings open.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone in the locker room looks to the door,
mm-hmm.
and then it goes to black. We don't see who it is that walks.
And then it plays Don't Stop Believing.
And the No, Don't Stop Believing kicks in on the jukebox. Yes, AJ's struggling to park the car, or whoever that, maybe it was Meadow. Somebody's struggling to park a car, and the door swings open, and it goes to black. You're right, it is. Let's give them that Sopranos ending they've been waiting for.
Wow.
I could see that happening at the Midland locker room, and that gives a little spice.
I mean, if not now, when?
If not him, who?